if you have to do anything on your side, Gunner, to get it to go live on your platforms. I'm not sure how that works.
I just listened to Tech Taylor tell me what I needed to do, so I did it.
Dude, he's an
So we'll
animal.
see.
All right, go live. See if we're live on Instagram. She buffering. Okay. Okay, I think we're up live on all platforms.
Yeah.
I can't hear you, Jake.
I was just saying I'll hold my cruel joke since we're live then.
Did you have a good one?
I mean, it was just something about you shopping at Baby Gap, but other than that, yeah.
For the shirt? Dude, this isn't even filling out half the sleeve.
I'm just kidding. Oh, I know. We noticed that part, and that's not the part I was talking about. I was mainly talking about the gut.
Dude, quit. You got the whole squad laughing.
I know it.
All right. Oh, Taylor's here.
Oh.
Taylor's already here. Said, all right, Taylor Smith, dude. I guess you're demoted already. Taylor said I can't trust Gunner on the live stream, so
he said that.
I got to come in.
That's tough.
I heard Gunner kills bigger deer than all of y'all. You would be correct. Yeah, you would be 100% correct. But Taylor, I do have something for you that you'll love, and I have to play it at the beginning of every podcast. So we'll see you guys in just a few seconds.
Welcome to the Hunter's Advantage Podcast, where a group of budget-minded hunters scour the woods for whitetail bucks and whatever other big game is in season. Tune in each week to hear the hilarious public and private land hunting stories and mistake-filled lessons learned. We believe that every hunt brings us closer to God and that we exist to share the good news. And now, your hosts, Christian Babcock and Jake Gaylord.
Oh, I love getting Taylor with that one. Dude, every week we've been hitting him with that intro. And since he doesn't have the controls on the keys, he can't debate it. So
Yeah.
That's the best. Oh,
Well, it
okay.
got me
So
motivated, so
there we go. So we've been doing these live streams, and it's a kind of a little bit different format on the podcast. We used to take questions from TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and then we kind of do them all in one long form podcast. But we found out this is a lot better for us. So I just wanted everybody to know we don't only do live streams. We have a regular podcast. And then Gunner, can you guys just recently started up a podcast. Tell a little bit about what you guys have been talking about on the Team OD podcast.
So we haven't really gotten into the meat of what we're going to get to be able to talk about. What we got to talk about a little bit about what we're going to do, like an intro. And then we went into my buck again, which of course, it's probably exhausting, but we had to go into it again. But we went through some of the stuff that maybe we hadn't told a whole lot of people. Just the background of it and some of the things that we personally experienced that, like I said, I hadn't maybe gotten the chance to tell everybody else. So we got a lot of stuff.
Spotlight that you used to shoot that deer or what?
No, I wasn't going to tell anybody about that.
Oh, gotcha.
Thanks. But anyway, we've got a bunch of cool people coming on pretty soon. So we're really excited about that. So
yeah, that'll be fun. So for people that haven't heard about that buck, what did that describe that deer and tell us what he ended up. I know he's the archery Oklahoma State record, but tell us what he ended up grossing and netting after that 60-day period.
Hey, I know he netted 188 and 5/8, so he beat it by an eighth. I can't really tell you the gross off the top of my head.
200, right? At least.
I don't even know if he got that after he dried, which was surprising to me. I thought he got like in the 196. I thought that's where he went, but I know he netted 188 and 5/8. I know that for a fact. But
for a guy who shot the state record, the least about the score of the deer.
I know the net because that's what everyone talks about all the time. I should tell everybody the gross because I'm a big believer in it's the gross, it's what he grew, but that's
I would, and I'm also a guy that likes even numbers, so I just round up to the next highest is what I would do.
Yeah,
he netted 190. That's what I'd be saying. Here we go. We got some good questions rolling in though. So a lot of them from Taylor, but here's a good one for Prison Pate here. Pate, why don't you take the first question here?
Why can't Peyton ever find his deer that he shoots? That's a tough one. That's a tough one. At least give me the respect of spelling my name right, Tyler.
Tyler Smith.
I don't know, man. I need to switch back. I guess it's this prime that I'm shooting. Just bad luck. It's obviously not me. But
my favorite part is when you shot both those bucks and you go, man, I'm really thinking about switching up my broadheads. I was like, I don't think that was the problem.
I don't know. That second one, the first one gave me a chance. The second one, you never know. It may have got the job done. We got to find them. I think they're dead, but we'll find them.
Yeah. So as comments are rolling in, let's talk about that for a second. Pate, your birthday is in what? 3 weeks? 3 weeks.
Yep, 2.5.
Yeah. What's your plans? So you shot a buck on opening day, and then you shot a buck on mid-December, something like that. What are your plans for shed season? Trying to go after those bucks.
We're gonna try to go down on my birthday on the 24th weekend. We're gonna try down in our our honey hole where we hunt, where no one knows about. But we're gonna try to go down there that weekend. I'm not quite sure if it'll be exactly that weekend. We'll see, but we're going to get as many people riled up as that I can, and we're going to go walk it out. Another thing to add on Taylor's question is, why can't I ever find them? Because the crap that we hunt in is only about 10 foot tall. You walk 10 foot and you're like, well, this is as far as I can see. So you're down on your hands and knees after that. So it's going to take a lot of people. It's going to take a lot of people.
When we looked for your buck initially, I remember you were walking through the grass and you were holding your bow above your head. And what are you, like 6'4" or 6'3"? One of those two.
Well, yeah. 6
plus your bow hanging up, and you disappeared. Your full arm length was like in the grass, and there was still 2 foot above you. So that deer could be very, very close, and we just didn't find it.
Yeah, exactly. It's tough. It's going to be super tough. It's not like just an open field. You see a lot of open fields or a lot of open woods, and people walk 200 yards. Like, oh, I see my belly of my deer. I'm like, dude, you have to step on the deer. You have to step on the deer where we hunt. So we'll see.
So you might drop a match if you can't find either of them?
I'm not, but I know somebody that could.
There we go. Here we go. Here's a good one. Gunner, why don't you take this one? And by the way, when we read go ahead and read the questions as you get it and who said it, just because we got a lot of people on audio.
So Matt Lewis asks, has anyone found a shed yet? I have not, unfortunately, I guess. Yeah, no, I haven't. I can't really add to that because I haven't. So anybody else found a shed?
Have you tried?
Not formally. I mean, I haven't went out there and said I'm gonna go shed hunting yet. So, no, I guess, but no, I haven't found a shed yet this year. Oh well, we didn't find a shed. I found it was a break off, but it wasn't a shed. Like a deer broke off like a month or two ago. I found, but that's that's not a shed. So,
anybody else found one? Nobody else has been, have you?
I mean, I think I got everyone beat on that, at least out of our group, just because I found that deadhead down on that public piece.
I have that deadhead too.
Yep.
Yeah. I have that deadhead.
That's like one of the only things I've ever found down there. Oh, I found this one down there too. But that's like the biggest one I've ever found in my life. So
I know we had some folks when we were talking about that, when I put that on the story of, can a deadhead survive and look that good? That after 3 years of being in that grass, there was a guy, I think his name's Riley Emery or something. He shot a buck in 2019, and I guess it died that year. And the neighbor found it 2 days ago and gave it to him. And it was he had it up next to the trail cam picture. It was definitely the same buck, and it looked exactly like that one you found. And I would argue it was even in a little worse condition.
The nose was good and all that stuff still?
No, I think the nose was broke too. There's no telling when that nose,
right?
No, the nose is broke off that one. Yeah. So
I don't know. I just didn't think anything of it whenever I found it. I was just like, oh, heck yes. actually seen some horns this trip instead of just getting skunked per usual. But yeah, I don't know. That's the thing that threw me off though, is just because it's been what, 3 or 4 years. When did you shoot?
Yeah, it was 2020.
So,
Yeah.
so about 3 years at the time.
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't know. I believe it, and especially after going off the footage, I mean, I think it's the same deer, but that's just wild.
It is. I mean, that's crazy to me. Here you go, Prison Pate. Here's a good one for you. Taylor Smith said, "At least his bed is made this live. That's good to see." I don't know. I think you should go back to Prison Pate. I think those were the best. Those were the best TikTok comments we got for a while when you were in your little bedroom. Those were the best.
Yeah, people
And-
actually believed I lived that way, but
Well, that was back when,
Minimalist.
that was back when you're more overweight too, and so you look just miserable. You're like, your face is bigger, and there's literally just a little prison bed behind you. You're like, hey, how's it going, everybody?
Wasn't made anything like that. Just white sheets,
No, it was terrible.
big brown stain on them.
it was a spare bedroom. It was a spare bedroom. For everybody that knows now, it was a spare bedroom. That bed probably got used by Christian. You probably stayed more than anybody did. And it probably was used like all together in the years that we had that house, probably like 8 times.
Well, I remember because we'd go up to Hunt, Kansas, and you would let me sleep in that bed on the way, like when we'd stop on the way back home, and you had like one singular sheet on there. You're like, you need anything else? I'm like, no, I'm good. And I'd be under there, and the fan would be ripping. I'd be like, just convulsing. And Carol was like, how'd you sleep? I'm like, great. Can we get outside and start moving a little bit? I'm cold.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was the best. Man, Taylor's blowing up. Taylor's our top commenter so far. He said, I heard good shot placement lets you find them quicker, like hard shots and double lungs, not hips. Yeah. I don't know. I've killed one with a hip shot too. Don't sleep on it.
I shot mine pretty much in the neck this year because of how he was angled. It just ricocheted right off that front shoulder, went right up that neck.
With a bow?
Yeah, that nice deer I shot this year just went right off his front shoulder, just missed it just right there, and it went right up through his neck, right out the other side. He ran 50 yards. So-
Did you got that jugular then?
Oh yeah. Oh, he's bleeding.
Because I shot one with my recurve this year, pretty much exact same spot, and I was like, man, I don't know where it hit him because you didn't hear that big smack.
Mhm.
It was just it was like you just missed him. You didn't hear anything, and then I was like, huh, what's up with that? And the arrow was sticking in the ground, and I walked over there and it was like just water hose the entire time. And when you hit that, it's freaking over. Here we go. 2024 Coyote Tourney champs coming to a tourney near you. Tourney T. So you guys know playoff P, Paul George at Oklahoma City. This is Tourney T, he said. He said that he turns up for our Coyote tournament. Yeah. You guys discuss the Coyote tournament for a second. I want to grab that deadhead and look at it. I want to get Gunner's opinion on this.
All right.
Be right back.
Yeah. But for those who don't know, maybe if you're from around Oklahoma, there's a Coyote tournament being held in Northeast Oklahoma, I think on the 16th or the 19th, somewhere in between there, this come February. So it's for the Carsolari Fire Department fundraiser. It's basically, I think, a 50%. I don't know what they call those, Gunner. You might have better words for me than I have, but it's 50% on everybody who enters. They take that money. You get 50% profit. But if you're a real player, what you can do is just donate it all back to the fire department if you win. But a lot of people don't have to worry about that because we got the dream team and quite a bit of land to hunt. So we're feeling pretty good about it.
So you gonna enter, Gunner, or what?
If is Tourney T on my team or
No. We already stole your most valuable resource.
Oh, he took Tourney T. Well, Tourney T is like, he's like MJ over there. So he took my MJ. Now I'm just Pippin. So I don't know.
But
I'll have to
Carol's
see.
also one of our shooters as well. So, now we're really gonna have to see who's the true MJ. Is it MJ or LeBron? We don't know. We're about to find out though.
I'll just go get Gage or something. Taylor
That-
like that.
Who's Gage? I never heard
He's
of her.
another. Yeah. Well, she could shoot coyotes. That's, yeah. He coyote hunts quite a bit, but Taylor's gotten really into it the last couple of years. He's been
Good.
pretty
That's what we
into
want to
it.
hear.
He just got that new call. He's pretty good at it. I'll give him that. I'll give him that. He's solid.
There
I
we
think the
go.
last time we went, we called in some doe. Don't know how we did.
We shot
but-
a bobcat though.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Sure enough.
Yeah, I remember that. I shot that bobcat with a red dot sight, and I was like, "Oh, that gun was only good for about 60 yards."
It was only as big as a house cat too, but I mean, so give credit where credit's due on the aim, I guess.
It could have been your grandma's house cat. I mean, I don't
mean,
know. I haven't seen many of those.
Not no more.
Here we go. So Tyler, how do you say that? Eberly? He said need a shooter gunner.
Yeah, come on. How many people can be on a team? Do we know?
4. Yeah.
4? Well,
Yeah.
that's number 3 right there. There we go.
I
There
mean,
you go.
Tyler, you
Building
might
the
as well
game
save your money though. That's all I'm saying.
We got like side pots and stuff because then he's
Yeah.
coming in. Yeah, okay.
So
Cool.
the big pots are the 3 heaviest coyote. That's for the jackpot, and then I think it's the biggest dog, smallest dog, and then most dogs, and then the biggest bobcat are the side pots.
And those are 25 a piece to put in for, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, those are good. Here we go. We know this guy. Matt Garris
Matt
said, "What's
Garris.
up, brothers?" Nothing, Matt. It's getting on.
Just wondering though, you think that guy ever got his tots or no? Christian, tell that story real quick.
We were in so we were in St. Louis at the ATA show, and there was Matt took us out to a barbecue place. I don't remember what the place, Sugar something, I think.
It was good.
Or anyways, it was really good barbecue. And there was a guy that, I mean, he was a minimum 3 bills, probably 4 bills. And
mean,
he was
I think that's on the light side.
okay. I was trying to be nice.
I'm not.
He might have
4
been
chins.
4. Yeah, he might have been 4 bills. And he was going up to the lady. He was going up to the counter to complain about how he didn't get his tots. Like he had a whole plate. I swear to you, the plate was this big of meat, and he goes, "Hey, you forgot the tots!" And he was walking up to the front, and Matt was like, "Where's my freaking tots?" or something like that. It was so funny. The guy
love
was
it.
he was very upset about it. Oh, here we go. Sugarfire has them damn hush puppies.
That's what it was.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome.
That might have been
No.
the highlight of the trip, to be honest.
Oh my gosh, dude! I laughed for 20 minutes about that. Where is this Taylor guy? I need to hubby him up. Yeah, he's actually probably right next to you, based on what he told me earlier. Yeah, I thought you guys were watching his nephew play the tuba. So
maybe we catch Taylor in a fib here. Is he just
Taylor-
sleeping on us?
Taylor's out in a tournament or something right now. Didn't
Yeah.
tell us.
He's
Nephew
practicing?
playing the
Well, that's
tuba.
good
No,
for you.
Taylor's playing that skin flute right now. Yeah, nephew playing the tuba.
Hey,
Over
and
there.
he's first
He's,
chair.
yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, playing the skin flute in the first chair of the orchestra.
That's awesome. Okay, check. So I got it, Jake. That you found this one. Let me see if I can. God, sorry, it's so big. I just can't get in the frame. Gunnar, how old do you think this deadhead is?
What?
How old do you think it is?
I'm gonna like how old the deer is, or how old it was, how long it's been.
No,
dead?
I don't care how old the deer was. He's about three days old. Yeah, I don't care about that. How many years do you think this sat around?
I'm gonna say a year, 2 years.
I think 3, but it was also
Oh,
in
that's
10-foot tall
close.
grass that got burned. Do you see all the
Yeah, I
burn
do
marks
see
on
that.
it?
That's
Well,
How was it
that's
laying,
the-
Jake? Was it laying like that,
Yep.
completely flat?
Yeah, the dark spots are where it was hitting the ground.
Okay, yeah. So if this is the same buck, which I think it is, was shot in 2020 and found in 2023, which
Nice.
what was it? We found that buck, or you found it, Jake, 100 and something yards from where we lost blood, almost 200 yards, maybe.
I don't even think it was that. So the pin you sent me, it was 90 yards.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So there was that. So I think just from the granted, I know like the 8-point is probably the most.
This one was a 9
deer
though.
out in the woods. Oh, was it really?
Yeah, it's got a G4 on that side.
Oh, huh.
Yeah, and it was the right side. It was the correct side based on that video that we took of him.
Mm-hmm. Kind of same
So-
frame, same points. So I mean, found literally 90 yards from where we stopped tracking. So I think it's the same buck.
Hmm.
Hence
It's a-
why you have it.
It surprises me though that as many people that shed hunt that area that deer that wasn't ever found. Like I don't know how that wasn't found, especially with there being a burn. It's like
A burn,
was-
and then there was that trail probably 20 yards by it.
was it not clear as day when you walked up on it?
Yeah. So like the only reason I found it, it was in some like pretty thick stuff, but there was like a white piece of vertebrae, and then it was just like breadcrumbs basically. So there's a white piece of vertebrae. As soon as I seen that, I was like, there's a deer around here somewhere. And so I just kept following those, and like 3 vertebrae later, you just see tines sticking up, and I'm like, ooh.
There he was. Oh, here we go. This is definitely Taylor commenting from Justice's phone. There's no way. So Matt said, I got some welding to do this evening at work. You guys have a good evening. Yeah, you too, Matt. Thanks for stopping by. Here's a good one. This will spark a pretty good debate since Gunner's like a record holder and stuff. Justice said,
Oh no.
Gunner, if a 3.5-year-old 150-inch and a 130-inch 9-year-old buck was side by side, which one would you shoot first? For a person that doesn't hunt, you articulated that so well.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. What do you think, Gunner?
Do I know for a fact he's 9? Like, is there like no doubt like he's 9?
Yeah,
Like,
for
there's
sure.
no guessing.
You have
I mean,
you have 9 years
as
of
much-
trail camera.
As much
But-
as I preach about age, it would almost be a sin if I didn't shoot the 9-year-old. I understand why somebody would shoot the 150-inch deer. I get it. I understand all that. But as much as, I talk trash about age over, it's my dad too. It's instilled in me. I'd shoot the 9-year-old. That's a big. To me, that's a big deal. You shooting a 9-year-old deer.
Yeah,
It's a big deal.
that is a trophy.
I mean, any sort of fashion. If he's got one antler on one side and one sticking out his back end, if he's 9, that's a big deal to me.
Well, you
All
got
I
people in
know-
here that wouldn't agree with you.
All I know is that buck ain't making another 6.5 years. Or I'm sorry, 5.5 years.
The 3.5-year-old.
Yes, that's as
Oh,
old as
yeah.
he's getting that day.
So-
I guarantee.
So
you.
how many, Jake? How many 3.5-year-old 150s would you have to shoot to be like, okay, I'll wait till they're 4?
So like actually, it just depends on the location. So if I was like somewhere like
Private land.
your all's lease or something, then yeah, absolutely. You're like, I'm going to hold off. But anywhere else, like my private that I hunt here, I don't care how many neighbors hear this podcast. 0 of them's listening. I know that. But I would shoot every single 150. Ask me how many 130s I've seen this year on my private.
See, what made you say?
None. And I know there's going to be people that say, you're just reaping your rewards of shooting young deer. I've been hunting that property for like 8-9 years, and I've taken $3 off that. Meanwhile, I know a neighbor that probably preaches age, and he's killed 5 in the last 2 years. So who's doing the damage here? And then also it just turns on location. Freaking public, I already know I'm not going to see 2 deer over 120. So it's like, I want to shoot first dibs, but yeah, not yet. But just to answer your question point blank, how many 150s on public, let's say, would I have to shoot to be able to pass it up? There better be an absolute mega, and I only have 1 tag left.
I don't think I'd ever pass a 150
That's
in public.
kind of what I'm saying.
I think
Like,
that's unrealistic. Yeah, that's like a dream scenario. I mean, to see a 150 on public, but
Well, people don't even like. Most people don't realize how big 140, 150 inch deer is. Like everyone's like, oh,
Yeah,
this
this is
140 inch deer.
156.
Like some people
Just-
don't.
Hold it out a little
Like a
further,
lot,
make it believable.
like a lot of people like will show me deer that I'm like, that's not even close. 140 inch, 150 inch deer is a big deer. That's. I mean, it really is.
So
Yeah.
I will also say this. So we had a Warren Holder from Raised Hunting on the podcast, and he was talking about how most people get the age of deer wrong when judging them like on the hoof. And so who's to say, unless you get like 100% without a doubt have 5.5 years of trail cam photos of that deer, how do you know that deer is actually 5.5 and up?
You shoot them and find out later and hope.
See, that's the thing. So like someone could shoot them and then be like, oh, I had him on camera last year, so I know, I'm really thinking he's 5.5 because I thought he was 3.5 last year, or like 4.5 last year. And so people really might be thinking they're shooting mature bucks, but only shoot really maybe 3.5 to 4 year old deer. And so that's kind of my argument too.
So you shoot what you think is a 3-year-old and be like, please be 5, please be throw them hands up. No, I'm with you though. The reality is in most situations you don't have the history with the deer to be able to tell, right?
Right. But like I said, if I was on a primo piece of private and like that, and I knew all the neighbors were or most of the neighbors were on the same like QD or quality deer management plan or whatever, then yeah, 100%. But until then, like you all know Northeast Oklahoma, there ain't no helping it, or at least where I am.
And getting reps too. It's like when you have a wall of 15 that are 125 and up, it's like, yeah, I won't shoot a 130 inch 3-year-old. I won't do it. But until then, it'd be very hard to. Why would you? I don't know why anyone would expect someone to do that. That's unrealistic, I think. Check this out. So Gunnar, I want to get your thoughts on this. Let me see.
Gunnar hates me now. He's not going to talk to me the rest of the time. He's like,
yeah,
he shoots young deer.
No, I'm a big believer in shoot what you want all the time. Like
correct answer.
You're out there hunting, shoot what you want. I don't have any right to tell you what to do.
So, Gunnar, what do you think on age on this buck? How old do you think this buck is?
I think you told me one time. I
shot this buck this year, by the way.
Yeah.
Ooh. So.
Not very big body. I know he looks big bodied right there, but he was probably one. I don't know, Carol. What do you think? You drug him out 180.
Yeah, 180s, 190s, somewhere in there.
Yeah. How old do you think that buck is?
Dude, I can't.
Don't offend me either. Just say.
Don't say it. 2.5.
I don't think he's 2.5. I thought you had said he was like 5.
Damn it.
That's what I thought you told me.
I did. Yeah. No, that buck was 5. But if you put him next to another buck that was in that place, he did not look 5 years old. I thought he looked 4 or maybe a huge 3-year-old too. So I got that one, tough. Samantha Manuel. I aged. Yeah. It's very, very
it's tough. Like 3.5 to 4.5 is so tough to tell. When they get to 5, certain deer you can really tell they're 5. But I mean, it could be there's big bodied 4.5-year-olds everywhere. Like there's big bodied 3.5-year-olds every once in a while. I'm looking at a deer and I'm like, I know that deer's 3.5, but
Did we get kickstand in 2020?
No. Yeah, we did. Yeah, that was his big year.
Do you have his photo?
I do on OneDrive somewhere.
Okay, wait. I think I found it. Hold on.
Yeah, I definitely do on OneDrive.
I can't find it. Thought I was in the right one. That would be a good example too, because we actually know how old that deer is.
Yeah, I can look for that one. I got another one that'll rile Peyton up pretty quick. Check this out. So I tagged Peyton in something that is probably the funniest thing I've seen this year. It says tag your buddies who can relate. Look who the first comment is. And then Peyton said the most dejected thing I've ever heard of about a person. He goes, Yep. he goes, yep. When you said that, I knew this guy's hurt. That was too soon.
I'm gonna find them both. And then I'll be I won't be as sour about deer season as this year.
If you find both those bucks that you shot, how pumped up will you be?
I'll be ready to get back out there tomorrow morning to hunt them.
You can hunt for a shed.
No, I'll be a lot more. I've been down in the dumps of like I got to a point where I'm like, man, I'm over this. So I went to waterfowl hunting. And that will probably bring me back.
Yeah, waterfowl. It's funny how they send you back to each other. They both suck so bad. You're like, oh, I've had enough of this one. I'll go back to the other one for a while.
Yeah. When they both start sucking, you start adding up. Like, if I sold everything, how much would I get? Is when you start thinking.
Mm-hmm. So let's hit a couple of these questions right here. Okay, so Justin said, "What is the most important thing you look?" I'm assuming you look for in a bow. What do you look for, Carol?
In a bow,
Personality, face.
yeah, I'm a big personality guy. Gunner knows. What's the most important thing you look in a bow? That's a good question. So I haven't shot a ton of bows, as in like I've never gone up to a bow shop and said I'm going to go get a new bow and held 20 different bows. Out of the bows, I've had a Bowtech Invasion, Elite Tempo, and a Prime Inline 3. It's either a 1 or a 3. I think it's the 1.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way the Prime holds the most. It's very centered. It's a very centered bow. It doesn't lean very badly. But I say all that. I like how the Prime holds, but I also shot my Elite very, very well. I don't know why I even got a new bow. I saw the price tag on it at TAC and was just like, hey, I'm stupid if I don't buy this. And since I bought it, I had to shoot it, which I never should have went away from my Elite, to be completely honest. But just how centered the bow is what I'm really going to look for if I ever buy a new future bow. That won't happen for a while.
Did you actually you bought the Prime, right? Just because it was a good deal at TAC, right?
Yeah.
And your brother had shot Prime too, though, in the past, and he told you it was a really, really good bow.
Yeah. I did, yeah. I shot a Bowtech Invasion, and I was so inconsistent with it. It's a super good bow. It just didn't fit me the best. The Elite, I think I have a Tempo. I'm 99% sure I do. It fit me the best overall as far as shooting, holding, and all that. But the Prime definitely feels the best, as when I'm shooting, I'm just not as accurate with it. Still accurate, just I didn't shoot it as good as my Elite. I could pull the Elite out right now and shoot it better than the Prime, and I haven't shot it in 2 years.
Sounds like you need to go back to the Elite.
Yeah, I am. I think I'm going to for next year. That Elite's 2 for 2. 3 for 3, I guess. The Elite's 3 for 3.
I'm willing to buy that. I'm willing to buy that Prime off you for $200 just because it's got bad mojo. But I'll still give you two. I'll give you $2 for it.
No, it's got bad mojo. It just needs to be trashed, so nobody has to take that on.
What were you saying, Jake?
Oh, I was just gonna say I kind of like Carol's thought process on that, because the thing about it is there's 100 different bows. What people say, because I'm in the same boat as Carol. Like, I haven't went to a bow shop and just shot every single bow. They have, just to test it out. The first bow I ever shot was my dad's, like, probably 1970s PSE that had 0% let off. And after that, like, my next bow was a Matthews Switchback, which is a great bow. But compared to the PSE, it's like driving a Tesla, right? And then all I did is upgrade one more time to the Matthews V3, and now it feels like a Lamborghini. And if I shoot like all those other bows, that might not feel like a Lamborghini, but in my mind, that's Lamborghini. So that saves me money in the long run. So I think the less you know in this case, the better.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can't get into that trap where you buy the new bow that comes out every single year. I think if you have a bow from the last 7 years, like if you have anything 2015 and up, I don't think you're going to feel like a massive difference. Like those Matthews from the Halon to what you have today, or the Phase 4, it's probably incrementally better. It's a little bit better, but I swear to you, when I shot the Triax and I shot your V3 and then I've shot Phase 4, it's like, yeah, these kind of all feel pretty similar in a lot of ways. So I'm not getting into that trap.
I think after that, it's just like how comfortable it is. You know, like is the valley, you know, nice and smooth, or does it want to jump out of your hands? Like I think it's only like critiquing it at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What about you, Gunner? How do you pick what's important to you in a bow?
Man, I've had 2 bows in my entire life. One was a youth model diamond, and the one I shoot now, which is a Matthews Chillar. I shot that youth model diamond for not very long. I killed one thing with it, and it was a turkey, and it was the dumbest thing you've ever seen in your life. It flew over a creek, and I drew back and shot it, and it was just. And then I got that Chillar the season I killed the state record buck. So I don't have it. I've shot 2 bows. You know, I could tell you the difference in the Matthews and the diamond right off the bat. Just something I can handle. Lightweight. I like to go. I mean, in theory, I like to go west and stuff like that. When I went out to Kansas, I went mobile, and that was nice. Have that light bow, but just something that shoots smooth that I feel confident with, really. So
wasn't the state record buck you shot? Wasn't that your first buck with a bow?
Yeah.
Do you want to sell that bow? It's got to have something special from the factory.
Some sort of value.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm probably gonna have that bow for a long time. It shoots so good. I'm so comfortable with it. I gotta go get the strings redone. But after that, I think, good bow will last you forever. My dad has a 20-year-old Matthews, and it shoots wicked. A guy borrows it every year and goes elk hunting, kills an elk every year. So,
dude can afford to go elk hunting, but borrows a bow. That's what I'm talking about. That's my kind of guy. I'm not buying one of those stupid bows. I'll just borrow yours. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We got another good one coming in. So Sal Mark St. Martin II. That is a mouthful of a name. Said, I don't think my comments are showing up on YouTube. I shoot a 60-pound Hoyt Torix. What would you guys recommend? Shooting a fixed blade broadhead or mechanical, or do you guys think the draw weight doesn't matter? Ooh, interesting. What do you guys got?
That's a loaded question.
How so?
That is a loaded question.
Fixed blade or mechanical? Let's start with that one. What do you guys got on that?
I mean, from the results this year, I want to say fixed blade, but I mean, if you're not like Carroll and actually hit him where it needs to be hit, I mean, I think you can get away with the mechanical.
That's true.
But I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'm a big fixed blade guy now. I used to shoot those Rage hypodermics. Killed the big buck with a Rage hypodermic. Never had a pass through ever with anything other than what I shoot now, and that's the Shuttle T trophy takers. And my gosh, they're wicked. I will never.
Dude, Taylor will not shut up about the Shuttle T's. He's like, Shuttle T's. He loves those things.
Dude, I have not had anything bad to say about them. Just smooth. I get a couple extras so I can make sure that they fly right every year. And my gosh, they fly right. So I'm a big fixed blade guy now. So that's my 2 cents. I don't know if I've always been told you got to watch the poundage on those, but I haven't ran into it. I shoot pretty heavy poundage. So
yeah. And also, if he's wanting like a genuine answer, we did a podcast with the Ranch Fairy, and at the time I knew less than I did now about like broadheads and arrows and all that stuff. And I'm just putting this out there. I don't know crap about him still, but I'm just saying he puts it. If he can explain it to me, he can definitely explain it to you. I assume, just since you're able to spell your own name, you probably have higher IQ points than me. So go listen to that, and I think it'll kind of persuade you to shoot fixed rather than the mechanical.
Well, we have several good podcasts out about those topics. Like you can listen to the VPA episode. You can listen to the episode with Ranch Fairy. We had Ed Ashby on. He talks about the 12 penetration factors. Those are really interesting. But on his question of does draw weight matter, it absolutely matters. You gain several feet per second per pound of draw weight that you're drawing back. So does that mean you need to shoot 80? Probably not, but 60 over 60, I would say, for the average guy is pretty good.
Didn't the Ranch Fairy say something about how the mechanicals take a certain amount of force that ended up being like 60% of your kinetic energy to just open that broadhead?
Yeah, to deploy it, because the opening, especially the big 3 blades like the Grim Reaper
Mhm.
Whitetail Special, that's
Which
a
I
great
love.
broadhead. By the way, if you said, hey, you get a pass through every time, that'd be the best broadhead ever to shoot.
Mhm.
But you can't control that. So yeah, it's the opening of those blades. It slows the projectile down. That's why if you could shoot them with a really sharp field point, it would be absolutely best. You just wouldn't cut a big enough hole, right? But yeah, the less drag going through the animal, the less your arrow's going to slow down. So yeah, the mechanicals definitely take a lot of the energy away. But with modern archery equipment, you can shoot a mechanical and kill a deer. But I just don't think it's a risk you have to take. Especially with drones and tracking dogs, it's like if you hit a deer good, you're going to find it. So why and Carol knows after the refrigerator, dude, if you shoot one and hit him, you're going to find him with that drone. It's insane. It really is. So either way.
Yep. As long as you're not too early in the season and you don't have too bad a canopy cover, you're gonna find the deer.
Yeah. We found that buck that Carol shot in it was like 3 minutes. Like, oh, here's a deer. And we're like, I don't know if that's him. Let's get another angle. He circles around. We're like, that's him.
Yeah.
He rolls over and there's 2 big holes in him. He's like, that's him. Yeah, that's the. Yeah. Here's a good one. Brack Jones said a 9-year-old deer is a trophy no matter what headgear it has, but a 150-inch deer can be a once-in-a-lifetime deer for some people. Can't really blame people for shooting the biggest deer there, in my opinion. That's a pretty wise opinion.
Absolutely. I agree with them 100%, but go to TikTok and you will get absolutely ate alive.
Yeah, by all the fake accounts, though. They're all people that would do the same thing.
You're what's wrong with hunting.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, dude. I'm 8.
You're what's wrong with him. That's usually what it is. It's like user 69, 86, 94, 31. You're the problem.
Profile picture.
Yeah. You go to his page, there's not a single thing on there. Yeah. That's a good point, though. 150-inch deer to most people, regardless of age, is going to be a deer that most people will never shoot. Especially with archery equipment. I don't think most people will shoot one over 125 ever. My dad has hunted his entire life, every season. I think his biggest deer is in the mid 120s. It's like, dude, 150-inch buck. If a 1-year-old 150 walked out in front of him, I'd be like, fire away, fire away.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to keep that in perspective too. And what spots you have to hunt. A lot of folks don't have good places to hunt. So if a 150-incher walks by, they're probably age is going to be the last consideration.
Yeah, it's a lot of perspective. Do what you want. I'm a big proponent of do what you want, but it's a lot of perspective. Like if you're like a guy where you're on a level where you're like, I want to do some different things, you can maybe think about that stuff. But 100, like you said, a lot of people don't even see 150-inch deer in their life. Like hammer that sucker. Like if you feel like it, it's you're doing what you want to do,
Especially in public, dude.
Oh my God.
Because for most people, that's where most people hunt nowadays. It's like public. For me, I have family land I can hunt, but like if I want to go kill a big deer, I go to public because that's just history has shown bigger deer get killed there. But that's the thing. I guarantee you, if you take a survey of 10 people that hop out of their truck on that piece of public and you hold up a 150-inch deer, on a trail camera and say, hey, if this thing walks in front of you, are you slinging an arrow? 10 out of 10 times, they're going to be like, hell yes.
If it was 10 inches smaller than this, it'd still be getting the business on public. That's why I love hunting public.
I did that this year. What do you mean?
Dude, when one walks by that has any resemblance of nice headgear, I'm like, my bow is just like, oh, I'm like summoning it with the force. But that's the great play. That's the great thing about public is, dude, a nice one walks by and you're like, I don't care about age. I don't care about what that deer scores. I'm in the mountains and I got 4 people to help me drag it out. Let's get this party started. And it's just whack. And you can shoot a nice 2-year-old and everybody's going to be pumped for you. But we got Peyton over here. He's out there passing deer bigger than we're shooting on public.
I know. I felt, yeah. I look back and think, man, I should have shot him. I should.
He didn't pass his first buck on there though.
The 11 pointer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the 11 wonder. I forgot about him. Yeah.
Do you remember? Do you remember we told Justin? We said, "Yeah, Peyton shot an 11 point." He said, "No shit." Said, yeah. He goes, "Well, where is it?" I said, "It's in the back of the truck." And Justin walks up and he peeks his head over. He goes, "Oh, hell yeah!" And it had nubs. I swear to you, they weren't an inch. They weren't an inch.
Oh man,
I
That
didn't
still
even know
gives
it
me
was a buck.
nightmares. That gives me nightmares at night. I'm like, we shot her. We're over there high five. Well, the best part about that hunt is that deer came in at 45 yards and looked right at us and sat there for like 10 minutes. And finally, I just started laughing because I'm like, dude, go away or do something. Like, come on, let's go. And I started laughing, and I heard Christian laughing behind me, which really made me start laughing. So I don't know if you got it all on video, but I literally reached over, grabbed my bow as I was drawing back, stood up, put it on her, shot her. By the time the arrow got there, she was halfway in the next county. I hit her, and we went back and watched the footage. It had been a perfect freaking shoulder shot. That deer turned and ran, and where'd I hit her? Like in the back hip by the time the arrow got
In
there.
front, it was in front of the back hip because you got a
Yeah.
full pass through.
Yeah, in front of the back hip. And we were like, got her. And then I remember walking up, and you're like, is she brown? I was like, yeah. Walked up, and I was like, it's not a doe. And you're like, what's wrong? I was like, it's not a doe.
Justin said, "You can make a keychain out of those." Dude, I promise you that if most fawns are born in May, that one must have been born in freaking August because, dude, the spikes on it were in. You said you lost the head you buried it.
Yeah, I buried it in a cat or something drug it up and drag it out.
Yeah, those spikes were. They might not even have been over an inch. That was awesome because I remember one time, Jake. I don't know if you've seen Richie's dead or his one like that, but Richie shot one like that one time, and it was that big in the mountains, like the same little spikes that Peyton had. That was an awesome one. Well, it sucks because if it wasn't Peyton, it was going to be me because he said, "Would you shoot it?" And I was like, "If you don't, I'm going to." And so he shot it, and then I was like, "Okay, now I'm glad that was you."
You guys were at the community center, weren't you?
We were, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a 200-yard drag. Absolutely.
That's the reason we were in there is because I was like, shoot anything that walks.
She ran back to the road. Let's go. I just remember being pumped about that.
Oh yeah. Here we go. Jared Griffith said, "Any season that you shoot 2 studs is a good season. Doesn't matter if you didn't fight either one."
Y'all are really kicking a man while he's down.
I mean, to be fair, you did probably shoot 250 worth of bone. It's just, are we going to recover him? That's the question. Yeah, that's a good season. That's a really good season. Gunnar, how did your season go this year? You said you shot a pretty good one with your bow.
Yeah, I shot a pretty good mainframe 8 with some junk. He went mid 140s.
What?
He's an older deer.
As an 8-point?
He's mainframe 8. He had junk. Like, hold on. He wasn't like ended up being like 11, but like I'm taking his mainframe. Hold on.
With how many inches of junk though?
He had some. I mean, it was not like. I mean, it was junk. I mean, it was legit.
Like 10 inches worth of junk?
I mean, close, probably.
There we go. So still, a 130's 8-point is big.
I don't know if I can even
hold it up there.
Yeah.
Quit, dude. Your camera quality's blowing me away.
I know.
Oh, that's a big 8-point.
He's like 2.5 years old. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big 8.
He was. See, my girlfriend wanted to kill him, and I told her. I said, because we had 2 deer, we had another big 8-point we called Tines because he was just super long time. I said they were on 2 different properties. I said, which one do you want more? Because I'm going to kill the other one. And then I showed her a bunch of pictures because we had a lot of pictures from both of them. And she goes, I kind of want Tines. He's just longer, whatever. I'm like, okay, you chose what you wanted. That's what you wanted. The other one was way more patternable. Like Tines was coming in at like midnight, 3 a.m, 9 at night, and That deer, we called him Claw. He'd come in about every other morning, about 7:30, 8 o'clock, just right through that trail. And I mean, I went after him for about 2 weeks and I killed him about Tuesday morning about 7:30.
Did your girlfriend end up killing one?
Yeah, she shot a younger 8-point. I say younger. I mean, it was her first year ever shot at muzzleloader season. So
Oh, heck yeah.
she's pumped. We had an opportunity at a pretty big 8. I think he was 9 actually, but she's looking at me. We had an opportunity at one rifle season. He was a stud. She couldn't get level on him. It was her last tag. And man, he was a stud. He'll be a stud next year if he comes around again. My gosh.
Where's this at?
So I'll tell you,
South
I'll
Kansas.
tell you a creek, Black Bear Creek. It's right along that creek. Man, deer come out of everywhere on that creek.
Heck yeah. All right, let me pull up my Onyx. I'm gonna leave for a second.
There's a lot of creek.
Might be getting a release next year, huh?
Yeah. Here we go. When the HA hats back in stock, Matt Lewis asked. I think we have a few in stock right now. I think we have some of the camos in stock. I'll have to check the website. I haven't put a ton of time into merch, which I probably should put more time into that. But dude, I don't know if anybody else has been shipping things recently, but once you throw the cost of a box, tape, and shipping into it, there's like no money to be made in a hat. So I've actually lost money shipping hats before. So that's why hats and shirts haven't been a priority.
Unless someone pay like $50 a hat.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. I mean, I get it, because if I got on somebody's site and it's like, dude, $35 for a hat, you think that's crazy. And it's like, well, the hat cost me $20. And then shipping it's $15. I didn't even make any money. So that's what's going on with that. Here we go. This is funny. Outdoor Defiance hats are always in stock. We like to keep our customers happy. We don't complain about making money on live. That's awesome.
Good plug, Taylor.
That's
Nice
awesome.
plug.
Good for you, Taylor, dude. I'm about to ban you from the live. One more of this.
But I heard like after like a week, or actually I bought one of those, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago, and after a week the leather patch came off. So I don't know what's up with that.
Dude, you know what's funny about their hats is they're the same hats. We use the same people to put them together. Oh, that's awesome.
I'm just kidding,
Yeah.
guys. I don't want to get sued for defamation. Sorry.
I was gonna be heartbroken. I was like, "What? Our hats suck."
Messaging
like,
Taylor.
News to me, Taylor. What are you doing over there, distributor?
That's awesome. Here we go. So Tanner Russ said Colorado archery trip going after elk or mule deer. Okay. Prison Pate, let's start with you. Which one of those you pick out of elk and mule deer?
Oh,
You already got black bear down, so you don't need to know that.
I'm gonna go with an elk. I'm gonna go with the elk just to fill the room.
Fill your trophy room?
Yeah, start filling the trophy room.
Oh, you're right. You're what's wrong with hunting. But anyways, moving on.
Hey, they eat. I'll eat it.
Oh, I'd love to get an elk. What about you, Gunner? Elk or you actually have done some of that in Colorado already, right?
I missed an elk last year. No, not this year, but last year. Yeah, he was at a dead sprint at about 190 yards with my rifle. I just like Tokyo drifted into a log. I said there was he had like 30 cows with him. He was pushing. I think they got pushed off the mountain. I was a little lower elevation. I was about 8,000-ish feet, and so they're pushing through there. Just there's two bulls with them, like 30 cows, and they're just going. I set up right where they're going in the woods, and I'm like, cow, bull, bang. And I watched my bullet go, yup, just right behind him. It was tough because he's not, I mean, for a first bull, for me, he's a nice bull. I was pumped if I'd have killed him. I saw a bigger one that night, and he ended up stepping over the ridge on me, and I didn't get a shot, but to answer this question, if I had an archery trip, I absolutely love mule deer hunting. It's like my favorite type of hunting other than like whitetail. So I'd have to go with mule deer. I love going into like sandhill stuff, like big open plains, and that's foothill type hunting. That's my jam. So I'd have to go with mule deer.
Mm.
My only thing on that is you miss an elk with a gun, so how are you going to hit a coyote?
Or you
Coyote.
mean
Well, the name of the game for the coyote is the sucker's not running from me. I will say
I'm
that.
just kidding.
I'll at
I'm
least
just
have
messing
him
with
coming
you.
at me.
You be playing more Call of Duty, man, hitting those running shots.
I don't even play Call of Duty. I can't do it on the game. Like my hand-eye coordination, I can't do it. Yeah, I can't do it. So it's probably my problem.
well, the guy above you can, and he can
Yeah.
give you a lesson.
Okay.
He can give you a lesson. Jake, what about you? You go elk or mule deer on a Colorado archery trip?
For Colorado, I'd probably go for an elk. I would say that'd be higher on the hit list. I just feel like a mule deer would be more attainable elsewhere. You know what I mean? Like I'd be able to do that eventually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't know. In Colorado, a lot of the stuff is it's, and from an elk perspective, a lot of people say it's pretty tough hunting, especially on the over the counter units. So I feel like it's, if you can go to Colorado with a bow and kill one on public land, I feel like you're kind of doing something. That's a pretty big accomplishment. So
Yeah.
I'd love to shoot both though. I would. High country mule deer. The Element did a film about high country mule deer. I think they shot one at like 11,000 feet. That looks pretty awesome in September too, though. High country. I think that I've seen some of the Matthews. So you guys know the Proving Ground episodes that they do, where like when they come out with their new bow. I've seen one where they like are sliding down mountains and like shillings of rocks are going by as they're trying to shoot a mule deer. That's like high country mule deer sounds really, really fun. I don't know if I could get up there, but maybe I would really enjoy that.
I think for the first one, I would want like more of the plains, the flatter, Nebraska scene rather than the high country just right off the bat. I want one down first. That's what I'm trying to say before I add any more layers to it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, especially knowing that mule deer live in like that Nebraska sandhill terrain, and that's a lot easier to hunt than the high country. I can tell you that. Oh, here we go, Carol. I don't know who this is, but Shelby Baker, who has the biggest Kansas deer out of HA? I didn't know you had Shelby's Facebook. This is crazy.
Yeah, she's asleep. Signed in.
Did you actually?
No.
Oh, I was about to believe you. Who has the biggest Kansas deer?
Yeah, I got Jake beat by 108 inches, and I got Christy beat by 50. Together, we have 60-inch deer.
It's crazy. People talk crap about us and our Kansas trip and how we were saying we were going to go there and do this and do that, but we killed a 158-inch deer. It just was with $2, so we killed a 158-incher. So,
and the only reason Carol got the biggest one is because I just, I'm a good guy. I hunt for age, so I elected to pass.
Yeah, we're really going to get into this. I was going through some stuff, when we went down to Kansas, and I was really super excited. When we went to Kansas, we all went in and looked at spots together. We found a spot over by the lake that I was super excited to hunt. Well, Dave goes in there and
don't even do that.
I literally was for sure popping.
I had a full conversation with Christian. I said, "Hey, Carol said he's wanting to hunt this spot, but at the time we only had one vehicle down there.
But I'm gonna go in there and stomp it all up and scare the deer out of there before.
You think he'd care if I ruined
one
it?
Goes, the other goes, and Christian's like, "I really want to hunt this spot right here," and I was like, "It's literally nothing but fields. The only other tree line to hunt is right here, on the spot that you were going to hunt as soon as you got there." And he was like, "Dude, just go in it. You're here." And he's not. And it's just like, if the roles were reversed, I'd be telling Carol to go in there. And I was like, okay. I wouldn't expect him to see much. We go in and check the camera, 140-inch deer. And I was like, I better get my crap together. So the whole time I was on alert, dude. The whole time. Of course, the canopy, like super like immature trees. So if I was to sit in the saddle, I'd maybe be 3 foot off the ground. Okay. So I was wanting to sit on the ground, but at the time I was like sitting on the ground with the bows foreign to me. You know what I mean? So I don't want to like fully commit to sit on the ground. And so to make myself a little seat, what I did, instead of just putting my platform around the tree, I connected my
Your tether.
tether in the tree. And I was like, I'm just going to sit kind of behind this tree, and I'm a little bit above it. Like most of my body's like obviously behind the tree, but I got my feet, knees down, basically covered with grass. Well, I sit there, and a doe walks out probably 75 yards into this timber, and I'm sitting there just have my binos just peeking through that crap, just seeing if
A deer on public. We never see this.
Exactly,
This is awesome.
exactly. I could see more than 75 yards. It's absolutely insane. And so there's this what was it, like a wheat field or something over to the right? I don't even know.
It was a
what
bean
planted
field.
at the
There were
time.
beans. Yeah.
Was it beans?
Soybeans. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And so she goes out there milling out there, but it was so thick where she came out at. I was like, if another deer kind of maybe was trailing her 15 yards behind her, like I won't be able to see. And which I don't know why I was worried about that, because it was literally September at the time. And so she moseys out there, and the whole time I'm looking out in the bean field, just glassing her, because it's a deer. I want to look at the deer. But the whole time before she walked out, I was just scanning the whole time, because where I was from the trail camera was maybe 10 yards. And of course that deer walked through that one in daylight, like a few days before that. So like I was ready for it. Well, it caught me slipping when I was looking at the doe, because as I was in my binos, I go to turn and look, and I see a deer. Don't know how it got there, but it was that buck probably 40 yards away from me, just staring right at me. And I'm like, damn, that sucks. And so I immediately like grab my bow, and of course it's on my left-hand side, and that thing takes off running back into this little nooket of trees that's basically by the lake. And I'm thinking, damn it. Well, about 5 seconds later, it comes crashing back by, probably 25 yards away from me, and then stops. And I'm probably 10 yards from this tree line where it meets the, I'm probably 10 yards away from this hard edge. Yeah. This thing stops and turns to me again, running down this hard edge, like because it wants to go to this field right here. And I'm sitting basically in the connecting spot to each piece of tree line, and he wants this spot. He don't want to go around. He's going right here on this tree line. And so as it's running at me, for a split second, I was thinking this deer's going to like gut me. I don't know why. It has rabies or something. It's going to gut me. So I'm like flailing around and I'm new to the saddle. So I'm trying to like fling my bow up and trying to draw on my weak side shot. And of course I'm screaming, meh, meh, and it just stops for a second and then takes off running away from me. And he's about 25 yards in that bean field, turns broadside looking at me. And I just switched to that new release. I had a double caliper where it just clips on. Well, my new one, it has just like this half hook, and I couldn't get it hooked in time. And I wouldn't have hit it anyways. I was too much in shambles. But yeah, that was the story of that deer.
That deer ends up running by me like 600 yards away. And I'm like texting Jake. I'm like, giant buck coming by me. And he walked by me. He puts his front shoulder behind a tree at like 58 yards. I was like, oh, if he comes out on the other side of that tree, I'm gonna just put one in him. He didn't. He was big too. He was a big-bodied, big-framed sucker. He had Carol's name all over him, but Jake he had to go in there and run it for. I think Carol probably would have killed him. Hindsight.
No, the thing about it is that next day, because I went in that next day, and I'm like, I'm gonna go there. That's really, we're all hunting in that area, so that's where I'm gonna have to go. Went in there, and that was the same day. I wouldn't have killed him because that was the day the guy came in there with a crossbow walking it out. I remember just being so excited, like first day, evening, 20 minutes in, hear some rustling in the back, and I'm like, oh, here we go. Like a doe's not doing this. Turn around, here comes a guy walking from the bedding. I'm like, whistle at him, kind of wave my arms, and of course, some people would like throw their hands up, like, I'm so sorry, and walk off. No, this guy
he's walking with the wind too, isn't he?
Yeah, he's walking with the wind in the bedding. Like there's one place these deer can be here. There's one place. The rest is all soybeans. So there's one place where this deer can be, and this guy's walking it out, and he walks up to me. He's like, hey man, you see anything? And I was like, there were some doe running behind me about 5 minutes ago, but I see why now. But yeah, and I was like, other than that, nope. And he's like, well, which way do you want me to go? And I'm like, just, I guess back the way you came. My hunt is over. So
I'd have been like, toss that crossbow up here and get up in this tree.
Yeah. He was super nice. I was very, very mad because I'm like, so this is how Kansas is going to treat us, because this is the very first hunt on the first day for me. And this is,
I thought Kansas was awesome though, because I mean, where we hunt on public, if you see one deer within a week span, it's like awesome. Like,
I was in the game.
Yeah. And then down there, we went to this, just the very first weehaw we checked out. We just set over this this bean field, and we seen 20 deer. Granted, the biggest one was like maybe a fork-horned, but still, it was just cool to see deer. And you're just like, dude, I feel like I'm on a big old private piece that I didn't even put any work into, because there was knee-high beans and all that good stuff, and like not enough.
And on the weehaw, you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the weehaw, you are. Here we go. We got some good questions rolling in. Brack Jones said, "What's y'all's arrow setups? Heavy FOC or somewhere in between?" Gunner, what's your arrow setup?
Heavy FOC.
Gunner's like, "What is FOC?"
Yeah, I don't pay attention to that.
He looks up. He just gets in Google. Oklahoma State
I am.
record. No, just for
you know, my dad is big on it. He likes really fast arrow. I'm pretty balanced. I like a really fast arrow. I mean, if I'm going after elk, I'll go heavy.
what broadhead are you shooting up front? Like what grain?
100.
100. But you're shooting a fixed blade, right?
Yeah.
So, and what's your draw length?
What is my draw length? I don't know. I measure every time. I don't remember that kind of stuff all the time.
How tall are you?
5'8"
5'8". So
ish.
what do you think? Like 27?
Yeah,
So,
probably.
No,
Yes.
probably 28. That's what I am. I shoot my draw length's, I think, 28. So it's probably
Yeah.
27 and a
We'll roll in
half,
that area.
28 and a half.
So you're probably shooting a sub, just based on your arrow length, you're probably shooting a sub 500 grain arrow, but you're shooting a fixed blade, which is going to help with penetration. Yeah. What about you, Carol?
Oh, I shoot what is our weight, Jake? I think it's 585.
585, yes.
585. My draw length's 28. That's 65 pound of draw on the bow poundage. So my personal, this is my opinion. I think a heavy arrow setup, I see its pros, but I think mine's too heavy for my little arms and not heavy enough draw weight.
So you
On our
keep the
lease,
heavy arrow
probably.
and start lifting is what I'm hearing, and get that up to about 80-pound draw.
Yeah, if I'm going to knock mine down probably a few grain to get some sort of speed. It's probably what I'm going to do this next season. I think 585 is too heavy for me. Your most of your speed from your bow is your draw length. A lot of people get that twisted too, because
I think all
they
you
draw.
have to do is just go back down to 100 or 125 grain tip, and then you should be solid.
I'd
I'll
say
probably-
150.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to a 150 tip. I think is what I'm going to do.
Yeah, shoot a 150 and be like 530. That's still really heavy.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think that at the least when I took my shot, it's
Could be
at like
heavier than that.
26, 27 yards. Right now, for a deer to not do wonders on me, it's going to have to be at 20 yards or less. It's going to have to be. If a deer hears it at all, they're going to be in the next county by the time my arrow gets there right now.
So I don't necessarily think it's that. I mean, my only problem with the heavier arrows would be the pin gap, but because public, and especially like if you hunt more of the more mountainous stuff, it's a lot harder to estimate the range when you're on, looking down off slope where you're 15 feet up in this tree, but this deer's coming down from under you, kind of in between the bottom and where you are. And so it's actually a little bit further down. And so for me, at least, that just kind of throws off my, what do they call that? Depth perception of basically how how far I think he is. And so I'm super paranoid because I feel like even if I think it's 20, I'm like, it could be 30, I don't know. Not 100%. And Carol, just as well as I do, if you shoot a heavy arrow, like the difference between 20 and 30 is like significant.
Dude, it is like you don't want to know. Let's just say you
Mhm.
don't want to go out in your yard and find out, because with our setup, with my poundage and length and all that, being 2 yards off, because I shoot a single pin scroll reel, and if a deer is at 22 and I say, or if I say I think he's at 20 and he's at 22 or something, it is a huge difference. Like, it's scary how big of a difference with how heavy of an arrow and how slow, like I said, my bow's shooting slow because I don't have a long draw length, and my weight is only like, I want to say like 65, 66 pounds.
Christian, that argument that Carol touched on a second ago, how a lighter arrow gets to the target faster. Didn't your answer touch on that, on how the heavier arrow actually has more speed than the lighter arrow?
It maintains more speed.
Yeah,
Okay.
Like that. That's probably
Over a longer
significance the significance distance. Like,
yeah, 30, 40, 50, 60 yards. It's going to maintain speed. That's where you start to get an equilibrium of like the one launches faster, but one maintains more speed. So they might end up being the same by the time they get out to the target, right? So, and they're doing he's doing some testing with that sort of stuff. But I think for you guys, like shooting anywhere from 65 to 75 pounds and 28-inch draw, 29-inch draw, I think something like 530 would be better for you guys. Maybe even 525, because you still got a really heavy arrow, but you're not. I think 585 is overkill for what you guys are.
It is. Now the first deer, the paddles that I shot, there's a lot that goes into that, but that's the only reason that he's probably dead, like right now, is because of that heavy arrow, and who's to say, the fixed blade, I don't know yet. Maybe bigger cut means, hey, I maybe hit that artery back there. But as far as heavy arrow setup, that's the only reason I got 27, 28 inches of penetration through that deer.
So,
I should not have got that much penetration.
Would you rather have, okay, so on that, and again, I'm just trying to like bring this discussion, like extend it a little bit. And you mentioned having that extra, that bigger hole, so maybe you'll nick an artery or something like that. So you would rather have a little bit wider hole than a pass through every time, or maybe just more penetration, I should say.
You see, that's the thing with me. I haven't had the pass through stuff. I couldn't tell you. I shot 2 deer. One was coast to coast. The other deer, refrigerator, broadside. I didn't get a pass through. I got 2 holes. That arrow should have zipped right through that deer. So
that one was a weird one. I will say.
I don't know. I don't know. It just depends. I mean, I guess it really depends where you hit them and where you're searching too. In 10-foot high grass, probably a bigger entrance with more blood. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't know if that would have finished the job. So you never know. You can say, oh, well, I should have done this. I should have done that, if it doesn't work out. But if it does work out, you're going to say, oh, I'm so glad that I do this. I'm so glad that I do this. I can't complain. I can't sit here and say, oh, I like one or the other, because to be honest, I'm like 3 for 3 on expandables. I'm 0 for 2 on fixed, but they're outliers too. The fixed blade with the heavy arrow setup, that deer ducked 6 to 8 inches at 25 yards, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't think I think every situation is unique and different, where sometimes one will benefit, the others won't.
Yeah, I've had expandables zip through like butter, and I've had situation like this year, the fixed 6 for 6 with pass throughs, or 5 for 6 with pass throughs maybe. I don't know. I think you just have, at the end of the day, pick something that you like, that gives you confidence in what you're shooting, and then deal with the results. At the end of the day, I think that's kind of what it is. Gunner, here's something you better watch out on the Black Bear Creek. Our buddy Matt Guerra says, I'm familiar with Black Bear Creek.
There's a lot of it, buddy. Good luck. It's all good, though, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah. Here we go. Brack Jones says, what do y'all think about all the laws change on cameras and cell cameras in some states? This is an interesting one. So Kansas banned them on public land. Kentucky just banned them as well.
When did that happen?
That was a few weeks ago.
Oh,
Because yeah,
That's
Exodus.
crazy.
Yeah,
crazy.
Exodus did a video about that. What are you guys' thoughts on banning cell cameras and cameras in some states?
I'll go first because I'm super excited about this one. At first, when we had, we did a podcast on the Kansas one, what it'd have been like
Last
just throw a
summer.
number out there. Yeah, like
Yeah.
at least 6 months ago. I was like, dude, that's so stupid. That's so stupid. I think it's gonna bring back. I think it's gonna make hunting more exciting. I think that it's gonna be a lot more exciting. People have to get up and actually just say, screw it, I'm going here. I'm just gonna try it. I think that'll weed out a lot of people too. Because they can't sit there, on cell cameras and say, "Oh, I need to go on this day," showing up. So I'm starting to lean towards. I like it. I like them taking it away now.
It reminds me of 2010 when my uncle goes to Kansas, and I'm like, "You got any good bucks?" And he's like, "I saw one in a field, and there's got to be more." That sort of situation. That's exciting, and I feel like it takes a lot of the pressure away if you don't have a buck on camera. You're like, I'm still going to go hunt. I'm just going to go hunt. I'm going to go try to find a buck, and I'm going to go try to find sign and see him and make sure he exists. Not because just like we talked about the other day, Jake, with Steve Shirk, it's like a picture is the past, right? That's not necessarily an indication that's going to happen again. So I feel like it'll force people to go out and actually hunt and try to scout and find deer, which I think is a good thing on public land.
And I'm with that, and I agree. I think you Carol, you nailed it on the head. But the only thing I don't like is because I just now found out about that. And granted, I'm in Oklahoma; it doesn't make a crap to me, obviously. But the thing about it is what's the end game for them? You know what I mean? Like, is there something else they slid into that bill that could actually hurt that? Is that just a front? Is what I'm saying. Is that a front for something bigger?
Is it a movement? Is it a movement?
Basically,
Yeah.
Basically, and so I'm all for taking away cameras for like to a certain extent, but I don't like them taking away like that. I don't want to call it a right, but I guess it is. I don't know what you'd call it, whether it be a privilege or a right. I don't know.
A privilege,
But
yeah.
It's just that doesn't sit well with me because I just feel like sooner or later it's going to be a front or some sort of ploy to help the movement for a bigger agenda. That's my thing.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Gunnar?
I agree with both points. It's not going to affect me a whole lot being from Oklahoma. Like, I threw up a camera when I went to Kansas. I mean, I didn't get to hunt it a whole lot, so that was kind of tough. But you take this away, what else are you going to take away type of thing? And it kind of reminds me of the whole debate with I'm gonna get controversial here. The whole debate with like the wolf stuff in Colorado. Everybody wants to talk about an agenda there, and you could say whatever you want about them, I suppose. But it's along the same lines. I see why I guess why they were like, oh, let's take them out, and I understand it's gonna be kind of neat. Just going back to my dad talks about all the time, just kind of hunting, just going out there and hunting. That's gonna be fun because I'm hoping I draw Kansas again this year, but at the same time, I do understand like we're starting to take things away. Like why, like I'd like to see like what's the big reasoning behind it. Like I haven't read a whole lot on it, but like what did they, what did they say? Like, oh, we're taking this away because, or did they just take it away and say no more cameras because?
I think
know
the
Kansas
daddy
was
of
a
government
privacy
gets to do whatever they want.
I think
Oh
the
yeah,
war-
but
Was it a privacy thing? Did you listen to the Exodus one or no?
I didn't listen to the Kentucky version of it. I assumed it was a similar argument to the Kansas stuff, but I don't know if you
Mhm.
watched the wildlife commissioners and how they had a couple of witnesses come up in Kansas and basically speak to the wildlife commission. And there was only like 2 people representing the
Right.
opinion of an entire state. And if 2 people can go in and influence the policy that governs an entire state around wildlife, it's like, well, man, we should do a secret meeting in Oklahoma about a wildlife agenda, and I'll go in and try to get something banned because I have one perspective. I think that's dangerous. That's a slippery
Yeah.
slope. And it's the main issue I have with that, even though I think I would benefit from trail cameras being gone because there's probably going to be less people in the woods, and it's okay if I feel like I can go find a deer, and a lot of people can, so it benefits me. But the fact that there's a big hand of government coming down, just saying, we'll change this, we'll change this, we'll change this with no interference or no advocacy or voice from the sportsman. That's, I think, what is scary out from the trail camera side.
Yeah. And I said it when they banned the cameras in Kansas, but a part of me is just like, hey, these guys that are running this show and trying to help make these laws, I don't know if it's the game commission or the state's biologist, or I don't know who has a hand in it. That's above my pay grade. But I just feel like at a certain point, they try to make these big moves to make themselves say, hey, I have my name written on this, law or whatever. That way it looks like I actually did something. Mm-hmm. And even though, it's the most least important thing, probably, if anything, it's the least important but most inconvenient to a lot of people. And it's just like they're just showing people they're doing something, so maybe they'll get reelected or votes swayed one way or the other. So I don't know. And it would also, I mean, if they keep going at this rate, the vast majority of people do not own private land, or even if they just try to get permissions get harder and harder to be on. Well, and if they ban all the cameras for public, all those trail camera companies and all that stuff, they're going to go out of business, obviously, or they're going to have a big damper on some things. So it's just like, is that, I don't know. I like conspiracies and all this stuff, but I mean, then again, it's just, I don't know. I don't like it. That's all I'll say. I don't like it.
You got to look at the positives too. Like from now on in Kansas and Kentucky, if you drink coffee in the morning and have to go poop out in the woods, you don't have to worry about checking around for trail cameras, So that's also a really, really good thing for me.
Yeah, you'll never be.
When I go on public, I'm always like, all right, I got to take a quick look around some trees. Nope, I can just drop them and go.
I was in the Sandhills in Nebraska, and I didn't have that luxury. So good for you.
Yeah. I don't know. It's easy to, from the outside looking in, being like, well, as a non-resident of Kansas or someone who just travels to different states to hunt, it's like, oh, not a big deal to me. I don't care. But if they did that in Oklahoma where I hunted, they said, hey, no cameras on private or public land anymore, I'd be like, you serious? That would really fluster me, especially on the private that we hunt, the leases that we have. A lot of that determines where I go hunt on a weekend, what buck's hitting what and what's around.
There's no way that they could do private too, or they couldn't. I don't think they could control it. They might say, "Oh, you can't have." Yeah. So public, I wouldn't even. You know how I am on public. I'm not an advocate for cameras. I don't really care.
As if it matters, anyways.
Yeah. I don't. We get pictures all the time, and I'm like, "Oh, cool. I'll never see them. I'm going over here." So.
Well, that's what happens, Carol, on a 7-day trip when you only hunt 2 mornings the whole time.
That's not true. I hunted every single time except I think one morning it was raining pretty bad this last year.
Nobody went that day.
Yeah, no one went that day, and I saw nothing with the rack. I had to go down to the convenience store and look for some mamas with a rack. That was the only racks I was seeing.
Dude, Gunner, we stayed in our wall tent, and there was like 3 spiders that fell on Carol in the middle of the night, and he killed them. We didn't believe him at the time that they were as big as he said they were, but after we saw the list of the pile of bodies the next day, we believed him. But we went to wake him up that morning. He was in his Toyota Tacoma in his passenger seat, laid back, and we're like, open the door, unlock the door. He's like, no, I'm not going. And we were like putting our flashlights up to his door. We're like, come on, like it's a good day, get out. He's like, no, I didn't get any sleep. And he wouldn't unlock his doors. So eventually he waited us out and we just had to leave. It's a good strategy if you don't want to go in the morning.
Yeah, that year, that was a crazy little year. But this last year,
one with the spiders, dude. I promise you, if you don't hurt the spiders, they won't come near you.
I remember you guys were talking so much trash, and then I was like, "There's one," and then Jake had one above his bed this year, and he was like, "Oh my god,
dude, that thing was the size of my hand."
Yes,
it was a big
they
are.
They're insane.
I didn't find one on me, and the thing is, like, there would be one probably 6 inches from my cot because I'm actually a good person and I'll slide my cot, almost against the wall, unlike Christian, who literally sleeps. We have a 14x16, and I swear to God, if there was 2 Christians in there, no one else could fit in there because his cot is 4 foot from the wall. He's like, I don't want any spiders crawling up the wall and then getting on me. And I'm like, okay, but now I can't even tie my boots in the morning. So
Oh,
But
I'm not
anyways,
even close to you guys. You guys have half the tent.
anyways, Carol the whole time, like he did his nightly checks about 5 times. He would have a big old spotlight, and he just search around on the floor, and he's
They're
like,
so big you can
"There's
hear
one right
'em.
there.
You can hear
There's
them
one right
running
there." And I was
around
like,
on the
"That's
ground.
fine. I don't care if it's 2 inches from my face. I'm not touching it because as soon as I kill that one, I don't know. It's probably gonna let out some sort of pheromone, and then all of them's gonna know like that guy killed my buddy. I didn't kill one until the very last day, and after I killed that one, I found like 6 on my sleeping bag. I swear to God.
Do you guys remember when I hallucinated that one was in my bag?
Yeah, I was still like half in and half out. Because when we go, I
Oh.
don't sleep worth a crap. Like it's either hot, you're either cold.
That's why we have 50 energy drinks a day, dude.
Yeah, that you
It's
don't
part of
sleep
it.
well there. So yeah, Christian, go ahead. Take. They need to hear it again. 'Cause
I
this
didn't
was
even-
awesome.
I don't remember what I did. You guys are the ones that narrated it for me. I just remember jumping up in the middle of the night.
Carol, I think you tell it the best.
Yeah, well, it was like 1 a.m., 1 or 1:30, and it was like the second morning or second evening, and it was dead quiet. Everyone's asleep, and you just hear someone tussling around in his sleeping bag, and he's like, "It's on me! It's on me!" He starts yelling it, "It's on me! It's on me! It's on me!" And he gets up, he's shimmying. This dude got naked in like 2 seconds, just freaking throwing stuff off, shimmying, sleeping bag, shirt off. I was like, "What? What?" And he was like, "It's on me! It's on me! There's a spider on me!" And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, they're everywhere." And he was like, "No, this thing was huge. It's huge." And I'm like, "Yeah, they are huge." And I was like, "Did you get it? Did you get it?" Because of course I'm like, "Hey, I don't give a crap about you. Did you kill it? Because it's gonna
Is it
come to
dead?
one of us now. Yeah, is it dead? Is it dead? You know?" And he was like, "I don't know. I don't know." We I stayed up all night looking for that spider almost. Making
I
sure-
think I had a dream
I thought
that it
someone
was in
got
my
shot.
bag.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like dead silent to 2 seconds. He was up, standing up, sleeping bag off, half his clothes off, saying, "It's on me, it's on me, it's on me." And he's like, doing the whole freaking body
Well,
search.
What would you do if you thought a big one was in your bag?
So,
You'd get out of
tell your dream. How did that go down?
Well,
What was
in
it
my
from
dream,
your perspective.
in my dream, there was one that was in my sleeping bag, and it was the size of a plate, like the size of an actual plate. And I remember just in my dream, I don't know if my eyes just got augmented reality where I could see into the actual present time or whatever, but in my dream, there was one in my bag, and I swear to you, it was this big. And I was like, "Ah!" I just woke up and started trying to get it out of my bag, and it obviously worked. It took me a long time to realize I was dreaming. Okay, we got quite a few questions. Let's hit a few more of these. Hunter Pitsley said, "Have y'all ever hunted Montana, Northwest?" And he says, "I do a lot of backcountry in Northwest Montana."
We will, as long as Hunter Pitsley takes us and we kill something.
True. Yeah.
We drove through there. It wasn't northwest. It was it's really central, maybe a little northeast, huh?
Yeah, it was fun though. I loved Montana. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Have you ever been there, Gunner?
Not Montana. I've been Wyoming, Colorado, all the Dakotas, all that good stuff. Never Montana. I haven't got to hunt anywhere other than like Colorado, Kansas, Nebraska. I've hunted in Dakotas, luckily. But
Ooh,
no,
that's awesome.
I haven't got to hunt in Montana yet. That's a bucket list for me, for sure. Montana.
Oh yeah.
They
Oh,
got wolves there too, don't they?
We went pheasant hunting in the Dakotas, South Dakota, and it was crazy when we were there
yeah.
because like you would see deer. Like where we were at, there were no trees. Like
Nope.
there are people say, "Oh, there's no trees around here," and they got a few, trees around here. There are no trees. You can drive an hour before you see a tree. And deer are just like in a herd, like 30 of them just out in the middle of like a wheat field, and you're like, there they are. Like if you
what
can
part of-
find them.
What part of South Dakota?
Oh, I don't even remember where we went. I'll look. I'll look.
I worked
I
in
don't-
Webster for a summer. So over there by like Aberdeen, Watertown area. There's a bunch of walk-in stuff over there. I got to go on a lot of private land and do a lot of goose step stuff, and I'd see massive deer out there in those cornfields, just like
Muley or
me
whitetail?
a lot of whitetail. I didn't see any muleys. We got lucky one time. We went over to Watertown, and they have a game freezer for anything people kill illegally, or they find and they turn in and they had a wolf in there, and they were like, but they was like a big deal that they had a wolf in there. Somebody had turned in a wolf, and then it's pretty neat up there. Like he said, there's like no trees, nothing. There's pheasant everywhere. Like you can go on about any piece of walk in and walk it out and kill a pheasant probably.
Well, you need to take Carol then, because how'd you guys get one pheasant?
Well, we got snowed in. We only got to go really one day. We killed, I think altogether like 3, but snow was like knee high, almost to waist, knee high, in between knee and waist, and it was horrible walking. We got pretty much snowed in to where we couldn't even leave the hotel, and we got strep while we were there too.
Nice.
Strep throat. So, because Luke and I were, I guess, kissing, but don't tell anybody that. So he got it, I got it, and yeah, it was the worst. The worst. It was fun, but as far as like the most miserable hunting trip I've ever been on. We saw a ton of deer and a ton of geese, though. When geese probably shouldn't have been there. I don't think we saw any.
You see any turkeys? Dude, I about bought a turkey tag when I was up there. It was ridiculous how many turkeys I saw.
Huh.
Those are all Merriam's up there, right?
I don't think so. I think they have Easterns and Rios.
Interesting.
I thought because I'm really good friends with a private land biologist up there. He's going to come on our podcast in a couple weeks, but he hunts them all the time. Like they get like 10 turkey tags a year. Like you can go up there. You can go up there and like get like a couple, Native American land tags, like different sections and public land tags, and like you can realistically roll up there, kill like 8 birds a year. Which
more turkeys than we got down here.
There's a bunch of birds up there, and it's on walk-in stuff. Like I literally about bought a tag and just went after it one day. It's ridiculous.
That'd be fun.
We got another good question here. So Caleb Brown said, "What's your experience with poachers / trespassers on private land?"
Good question for Dave. Heck, he's a poacher himself.
Yeah, the catcher of poachers probably. Man, I haven't caught probably trespassers is what I would call them. So we have, at least with private where I hunt, has a problem with the neighbors literally setting stands on the tree line. And yes, I guess technically it is legal because the tree is on their side of the fence. But when I kid you not, the stand is overhanging the fence. And so the platform, the end of it, is probably on our land. And it's just like you look around and you kind of like try to look in the thicket. They ain't shooting back behind them. So I don't know what this stand's doing here. And then, I mean, there's one time I was walking back from an evening hunt, and I was walking this fence line, and there's this old timer that, hunts 100 yards off the road, ain't knocking it or anything like that. Cause I mean, there's deer that come down this fence line, but for me to get to my stand, the smartest access would be to walk this fence line. And so, I was walking back one evening, and I was in the thicket, and as probably everybody knows, it gets a lot darker in the thicket faster than it does like out in a hay meadow or something like that. And so I got down probably a little bit early, but still, like, you wouldn't be comfortable to shoot. You couldn't really see your pins, I would say. And I go walking down this fence line, and as I'm walking, as soon as I get out of the thicket, about 100 yards away, I turn on my headlamp just to, quite frankly, I turn it on for safety reasons. And as soon as I turn mine on and I turn this little corner and I see the fence where this guy usually sits, and there's a deer on our side of the property, and it's like looks at me and then takes off running. And so I don't think anything of it because I just don't think anything of it. It runs off, and I start walking, and I get probably 30 yards from the fence line, and the headlamp probably 13 feet up in the tree turns on, and I'm thinking, damn it, like this guy was probably waiting on that deer to probably jump the fence to take a crack at it or something like that. So I just, I didn't do anything illegal, but I didn't want to, ruin anybody's hunt. And so I'm probably 20 yards away still, and he's like, hey, and I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, and I try to go about my business, and he's like, that deer look hit? And I was like, huh? He said, that deer that just ran off, did it look hit? And I was like, I mean, it didn't look like it was hit to me. It looked like it ran off fine. And like I was looking on the ground, like obviously I wasn't looking for blood, but I didn't see anything crazy that just stood out. And at this point, like I start walking towards him, and I'm still on my side of the fence, but I'm probably 10 yards on my side. And he's like, "Okay, well, about right where you're standing, see if you can find an arrow."
On your side of the fence.
Yeah, and at first I thought he was just pulling my leg or something, and I was like, "Oh," and he said, "No, look to your right." And I looked down to my right, and about 15 seconds to look, and I see an arrow clean as a whistle, and I'm thinking, "Damn."
I said,
And
"You
so-
smoked her. You smoked her, man."
Yeah, no. Well, it gets better, and I'm sure y'all have heard the story before. But he gets down, and of course, like I'm just trying to be nice, and he's an old timer, like he's probably been hunting that spot longer than I've been born. And I hand it to him, and I'm like, "Oh, better luck next time." And he's like, "That's crazy." He said that thing was right there, and mind you, this is like October 7th or 8th, and so season in Oklahoma, for everybody who doesn't know, starts October 1st. He said, "Damn it!" He said, "That's the 5th one this year." And I'm thinking, this man's did this same exact thing 5 other times, and it's October 7th, and I'm like, and then I don't know, I don't want to say his name, but like he was one of those fellas that didn't go by his name, is by like
He had a nickname, an
a
alien
nickname
name.
that everybody
Yeah.
called him by, and I was just like, "Okay,
Big Jim."
man, like yeah, have a good night, man." And so yeah, that's that. And then all the time, I think I got more pictures of coon hunters walking my private, getting their dogs back, than I did of actually individual bucks. So that's just how that property's going. So that's why when I say on TikTok and stuff, like if a 150 walks out or 120-inch 9-year-old, I'm shooting the bigger deer every single time, no questions asked. I'm not blinking twice.
And he told me he'd do that shit again.
Every day of the week, baby.
Yeah.
God gave me 2 tags. I would try to shoot both of those deer, old and big. How about that?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I 100% would. I'd say, all right, wounded that one, wound you 2
Oh
for
my
this year. That's how it's gone. But I remember telling you, Christian, we actually with our neighbor, I'm not gonna say who it is, but where we hunted and you brought
What?
you brought the platform, and we're gonna try to use it as a anyways, down by the cabin. Long story short, down by the cabin, we have a neighbor that literally you can tell where this dude has crossed our fence. The fence is old and it's not the best fence, obviously, but you can tell somebody has a tree stand like 10 yards on the other side, facing our way, because we have the bedding, we have the woods. And he's got a tree stand 10 yards over the fence, and you can tell where he's been crossing. And you're like, okay, fair enough. Like, that's just ridiculous that you've probably been on our side so many times that you have wore down this fence. So,
On y'all's lease?
no, on family land.
Gotcha.
Gunner, you got any good ones?
Yeah. So, 2-parter, because we took the high road on this one. We had a guy at a place that we just sold, actually. Don't know his name or nothing. I ain't gonna out him, but it was pretty crazy. We roll out there one day, and there's like 100 yards of trees cut from this guy's fence line to our side. It's like a shooting lane. He went over to our side and cut like 100 yards of trees to make this perfect shooting lane for the top of our hill. And we're like, what? Like, this guy's, I mean, we could see all his stands. He's that close. He's like one of those, And so we're like, what is going on? And my dad calls the game warden. He's like, listen, I don't want to prosecute this guy, but you got to like go tell him, like, stop. Because I've told him like 4 times. And he's like, well, I ain't doing that. Well, of course you are. You just cut 100 yards of, trees. So he goes over there and talks to him. He said, the game warden's like, I came in there thinking he's gonna lie to me. He's like, I came in there like, who's been cutting these trees? Well, I have. He's like, well, I've been cutting the trees. He's like, well, you can't do that. And he's like, well, okay. So he's probably shot at several deer on our side of the fence. But anyway, this year actually, we got called by the game warden and said, hey, he called me. They have a deer dead on your side of the fence. can they go get it? And my dad was like, kind of sat there. He's like, yes, but tell him, or like, but ask him if he shot it on our site this time, he gets prosecuted. Like, this is the last straw. And he's like, okay, I will do it. Well, they go over there. It just happened to be his granddaughter shot one on their side of the fence. He jumped our fence, and she got to go get her first year. So we're very happy we took the high road on that one, and she got to go get her first year. But that was a big one. He caused us problems. Another one, when we first got actually the place I killed my big deer on, my dad, when we bought it, the guy we bought it from was like, yeah, the neighbors aren't great. And we were like, what's that mean? He's like, they're just not great. I'm like, okay. Well, for instance, one time, so when you're in a body of water and it adjoins two properties, if they stay in the body of water, it's whatever. It's fine. Well, he's in the body of water and he's coming over to our side, and he's like, Dad's like, hey, what are you doing? You catch anything? He said, oh, I'm going to go over to your corner and trap beaver. And Dad said, where are you going to put the traps? He said, oh, on your shoreline over there. He said, no, you're not. He's like, well, why can't I? He said, because you're going to go trap my beavers back there. He said, I'll kill my beavers when I want to kill my beavers. But until then, they're going to stay my beavers. But he's like, no, I'm just going to do it anyway. And Dad's like, I started walking down there and he turned around and paddled off. And I was like, I'm glad he paddled off because that would have been weird. But anyway, we don't know if it's the same guy or not. We pull around to the backside of our property and he's pissing on one of our feeders. He's got it kicked over, peeing on one of our feeders. And Dad's like, what? So he takes off after him in the Jeep and he jumps the fence and runs away. And I mean, just wild stuff out there. Like,
so two things I would have done. I would have said, yes, set your trap right there. And as soon as he paddled across the pond, I would have said, I have a new beaver trap. And then secondly, that camera that was pointing at that feeder, I would have blasted his little wiener all over Facebook. So
it was wild. It was in the middle of the, so we had it. I don't know. I think it was like September. We had just kind of had it. We had just bought the property. Like we had just kind of set it up there and we were going to start dealing with the stuff back there. And he was just kicked over and the guy was peeing on it. We caught him midstream.
Like you drove up while he was doing it?
Yes.
What did you say to him?
We saw him and he took off running with his pants half down and we just drove after him with the Jeep. I won't say
he's probably one of those guys that like pulled his pants all the way around his ankles just to take a piss.
I won't say what happened in between there. There were some words said, maybe a clip or two unloaded over his head, but he ran over to the other side of the fence. And it was not, it was more of like, get out of here type stuff.
Yeah,
and,
right.
And he got over that fence and just kept running. And man, I've been down there turkey hunting and had a turkey coming across to us, dead to rights, and I have rifle shots hitting the pond 10 feet from me. I've had them shoot rifles from their pond dam onto our side, just smoking water on our side. And my dad will be at the cabin hanging out, and he'll just pull that 270 out and just start hitting trees. Like, buddy, we want to play this game. We could play this game. Like, it's ridiculous out there. I've had some crazy stuff happen.
Why are you still laughing? That's the only reason I'm laughing.
Can you imagine a guy with his pants around his ankles running away?
Dance, boy, dance as you're shooting.
I'm out there in the boat crappie fishing, and they're taking shots on the water. Like, man, it's
dude. He said you got a state record deer. He said piss on that. And he went and pissed on your feeders. Oh my god, Jake! When you said he's the kind of guy that probably pisses with his pants around his ankles.
Oh, dude! Everybody knows those guys, like in high school and middle school, that did that. You walk into the bathroom, you're just like, oh, okay, I'll wait.
When I thought about it, I was like, dude, some of those guys do grow up, and they probably still do that. So, oh my god, Gunner, you ever want to sell that property? I'm in just for that aspect. I'll buy it. Oh my god.
I will say they've
On
slowed
today's
down
episode
quite a
of Messing with My Neighbor, today we caught him pissing on our feeder. So
bit.
I want to know what the 30 minutes before he did that was. Was he like, all right, how am I gonna get him? That's it. I'm pissing on their feeder. That's the last straw.
next
Like-
time, just like wrap it in like electrical wire, for like the fences and stuff. And then as soon as he pisses on that,
Oh my.
I'd like to know his
Zap
thought
him.
process too, because like if he kicks it over, pees on it like 3 hours before we get there, like is he trying to be like, oh, I'm gonna scare away the deer by pissing on his feeder, like, or was he just like, I hope he sees my pee on this feeder, like, what was his?
Was he
thought
gonna stand
process?
it back up? Is the question.
I don't know. I don't know. It was.
So when Jake
Yeah, I
was
don't know.
talking about the stream of the pee and the electric, it made me think of the fire at deer camp this year when Jake tried to throw.
weird.
Yeah,
All right, guys, thanks for joining us on today's episode. We'll see y'all in 2 weeks. Thank you. Bye.
Oh my god, that's awesome. Okay, we got some more questions to work through. God, that was so funny. That was way better than I thought. I don't think I have any poaching stories that will come close to that. All right, David. I don't know how you say that last name.
Tuxedo.
Tuxedo. Lots of talk about sneaking up to bedding areas, and everyone talks about things like headlamps and such. Are you sneaking out as quiet as you go in? I do. Thanks. Sneaking up to bedding areas. Are you going out as quiet? I'll be honest. I don't go out as quiet as I come in. I think it's impossible to go. I don't know. Sneaking out as quiet as you go in. I'll definitely try to sneak out quietly. I don't try to purposely make noise, but sometimes I just want to get out of there, especially on public. If I'm not going back to a spot, I'm like
Yeah.
heavy
Drops the
marching
platform
out.
from like 15 feet up, bangs off
Yeah.
the rock. It's like, I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
It also
I don't know.
depends on what you see too. Because like if it's a morning sit and you don't see anything, it's just like, okay, like you take a good look around and you're like, okay, there's nothing within 75 yards. I know this. And so like I'm not trying to be loud, but I'm not trying to be quiet as well. But like setting up and stuff, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You guys got anything to add on that one?
Not really.
All right. So Eldridge Farm said, keep up the grind, loves y'all's content. Thank you, Eldridge Farm. That's very nice.
It's Eldridge fam.
Oh, right, dude. Sorry.
The art.
I had I had my
English
pants
is
around my
hard.
ankles when I read that.
Golly, man.
That's awesome. David Tuxedo. Next, it will be banning filling your hunts.
I think
I
so.
can't read.
Filming.
Oh, filming your hunts. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, for privacy.
Yeah, Hunter Pitsley said, "Let's do it. I'll DM you and make a trip plan." He's talking about in Northwest Montana. Don't say anything you don't mean, because we will actually DM you.
That is
Eyebrows.
true. And I know how whitetail are, but what about mule deer? Do they die if they get hit in the hip or no? I'm asking for a friend.
They absolutely do.
Just kidding. I'll stop.
You might know this guy.
Oh yeah, he's talking about South Dakota. It is great pike fishing. Everybody up there complains about it because all they want to do is catch the walleye in the yellow perch. But he's when I went up there and worked, he texts me, he goes, "How's the fishing up there?" I'm like, "It's outstanding up there before the weeds grow up. Like you can shore fish out there and catch fish all day. Like I rolled out there and caught a ton of walleye, a ton of pike." He remembers back in the magazines when they're putting up those big muskie and pike and stuff back in the day. So he's like, I want to go catch pike. And pike are super aggressive. You put a little steel leader on there, a little swim bait, you can catch, every other cast you're catching a pike, you're getting hit. It's ridiculous.
Oh, when we fished Dory Lake in central Saskatchewan, me and Peyton did on a bear hunt, and pike fishing is fun. We fished it
so
in
fun.
May when the water temperature is still pretty cold, and so there's no weeds, and it's like you can throw a 40-50 yard cast and just you're reeling. And when they hit, dude, it's like a sand bass. They hit like a truck.
Dude,
You're like,
I know.
and you're fishing with like an $8 pole, and so you're like, as they're stripping your drag. Dude, they're fun.
$8 pole, 100-pound mono. You're like, this boat will sink before this line breaks. Let's go, baby.
Get that net. We're in for the long haul.
Yeah.
And we have boats with no trolling motors, so we got to like drive out 200 yards. We're like, all right, wind, go. And then we just kept... Yeah,
I caught
pike
a
fishing is
massive
awesome.
walleye. I caught a massive walleye that year. I'll see if I
We-
can find a picture.
We never caught a walleye when we were up at Dory Lake, but apparently there were some big ones. We were fishing for pike on spoons though, and we caught quite a few, which was, God, it was fun, man. That kind of fishing is really fun.
I mean, when we went in May, just to put it in perspective, May you're starting to get pretty hot around here. Well, the lake's still frozen in May. Like we only had our one cove pretty much was unfroze when we first got there.
Well, and those lakes are so little people and so little pollution in them that we ate the pike out of those lakes, and it was some of the best fish I've ever had.
It was the best freshwater fish I've ever had.
It was so good.
Better
God,
than
it
that
was good.
gar?
See if I can.
That's a nice walleye.
Dude, my buddy was freaking out because he was like, that was like my third cast. Like I wasn't a walleye guy, and he was like, "Yeah, I know, but he was like, "Oh,
Oh, I was
my gosh."
laughing at Carol. I'm sorry.
Okay, I thought you were laughing at my video quality over here. I was like, I understand, I get it.
No. Trust me, I have 4K right here. That doesn't make me look any prettier. I promise.
Sometimes they can work against you. Good quality. We got a few of these, and then we'll wrap up here. Taylor's got a. What are you laughing at, Carol?
Nothing. Nothing. Dave sent me a funny video.
What did he send you?
Yeah.
We'll tell you after.
And
It has to be
that's
Gunner.
kind of important.
Oh
Importance.
boy,
No, I'm just kidding.
that's fine.
I think Jake needs to get a new spot. He sounds like he hates his spot. I love it. Yeah. Hear my enthusiasm.
You know how to resolve that? Get a new spot. Don't blink twice.
I do.
Taylor
It's
said.
called public, but public's pretty boring when the rest of your group is tagged out. So that was
That's
that.
true.
That happened for me, so I don't know who you're talking about the rest of your group. So
Well, you switched into duck hunting at that point.
Oh, here we
I'm
go.
glad I did.
Caleb Brown said he asked about the trespassing and the poaching. He said the property I hunt
Ooh.
is surrounded by core land and WMA, so I'm constantly having problems.
I
Yeah,
can imagine that.
when I was younger, it was always fun when you found a feeder on private and you're like, I can hunt near that because it's on private, but I'm also still on public. Carol actually shot a buck like 100 yards from private.
You're
Doing
talking
that.
about Caw
Yeah.
WMA? Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yep. I'd do it again.
Here we go. Let's wrap up with this one. That spike would be the biggest on Jake's camera all year. Taylor said, you wouldn't be wrong besides that one 13 point you got on camera.
Yeah. Second biggest.
Second biggest. Well, cool. I think that's all we got for comments. That was fun, dude. I literally was crying when you were talking about that dude pissing on the feeder.
Oh man, I told too much, but guess what? YOLO, I guess.
That makes me so happy because makes you so proud to live in this country that people still are like that. It's like my neighbor's gonna do something to me. I'm gonna go piss on his feeder.
He's probably watching and he's like, I'm getting a group. We're gonna piss on every feeder now.
Come on, buddy. Come on.
Yeah,
It's gonna take two of the legs from the feeder and really inconvenient too.
Oh my god.
We already deal with pigs all the time. I don't need some guy over there. Ah, man. Hey, they've stopped. It's petered down a little bit, but
Oh, it's petered down. He didn't peter down.
You don't say.
we have yeah. If you're the other neighbors listening to this and you didn't pee on the feeder, don't worry about it. I'm not mad at you. You're fine. It's you I'm talking to, that one guy. I've got like 2 or 3 neighbors. Okay, it's the third one.
The third one. It's old Peter.
Yeah,
You know who you are.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool. This was fun, Gunner. For folks that want to listen to y'all's podcast, I know you got a couple episodes out now, and you guys are doing hunts and stuff, obviously on YouTube. Where's the best place for people to check you guys out?
YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts is probably the best. I believe Taylor just made an announcement today that we are expanding to a couple other platforms. Let me go look at it real quick.
Yeah, I think it was
Alright.
Apple Music or sorry, Amazon Music, some other ones.
I thought you said Apple
Yeah.
Music at first, and I was like, oh damn, about to
A-
drop a
Am-
fire album. Okay.
A little bit, yeah. Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anything like that. Just Team OD podcast or Team OD podcast. So yeah, we got some cool stuff coming. I got a couple biologists to come on and talk about turkeys. We're gonna talk to a saddle company here tomorrow, actually. So yeah, we got some cool stuff coming. So
And if it's any
Yeah.
consolation, I think you are a lot better person to talk to than Taylor.
yeah, there we go.
I will say that wholeheartedly.
That's funny. Yeah, well, we do have Taylor's coming up for the coyote tournament, so we're gonna have some sort of collab on that way on a video. So
Yeah.
But yeah, man, appreciate you coming on. That was fun.
Yeah.
What else do we got, Jake? Do we got any other announcements or housekeeping items?
I don't think so.
I don't think we do. I will say this: if you guys are listening, please leave us a rating and review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Those help a ton. And with that, Taylor Smith says, "Don't lie, Jake." But either way, we'll catch you guys in the next episode.
Yes,
Jesus
sir.
love you.
Boom.
Bye. That was fun.